I used to work on a golf course and it would be dark for the first couple of hours and I'd just ride around singing on my lawnmower.
Nice.
Luckily, no one caught me. That would have been very embarrassing.
I just want to start by talking about the bands that you've played in, which I happen to be quite a fan of.
That's great.
Bit of a groupie.
There's not too many of them around.
But yeah, take us through like the Perth bands that you've played in.
The first proper band was Anchored.
Yeah,
that's when we would have met.
That's when I met you. Yeah.
Anchored was really fun. It was like best mates, crazy shows. Perth had a great heavy music scene back then, and kids would just go to every single show and go absolutely mental, no matter how good you were.
I don't remember hearing you sing. I just thought you played guitar.
I was mainly guitar. It was literally in the studio where someone suggested, like, oh, this part's really epic, but it needs some clean singing. And I'd kind of tried to sing here and there, but it was like Offspring covers or like Sum 41 and just terrible. But I gave it a proper go. And yeah, it ended up on that first EP of ours. And actually, I listen back now and it's horrible. But yeah, I still enjoy listening to it just to see kind of how much things have changed and probably how much whiskey I've put into my voice.
Did you just start to sing a little bit in Anchored, or was this like something that's happened?
It definitely started with Anchored, that I kind of had to learn to be not necessarily a front man, but more of a presence on stage. And we did have a bit of a following, so I kind of needed to not be terrible. So I practiced and mainly just listened to albums I liked, like Thrice and anything, and I would just listen until I could sing the same as the album.
So a lot of in-car singing, would you say?
Yeah. Well, I used to work on a golf course and it would be dark for the first couple of hours and I'd just ride around singing on my lawnmower.
Nice.
Luckily, no one caught me. That would have been very embarrassing.
I know. I feel like there's always a similar story with any great singer. It's just like it started with someone and not having to annoy someone.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Tell me about Storm Clouds. It's a great song, by the way.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I was pretty stoked with that song. It was very spur of the moment. I literally wrote it and recorded it in the same day. But yeah, that song was strange. Like, the lyrics are definitely the darkest I've probably written. But I was not in a dark place at the time. And I kind of finished it. I was like, oh, no, am I okay? Like, these are very emo lyrics. But I think it was more of like a reflection by the end. I went through it and I was like, oh, yeah. Looking back, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of looking at a certain time that maybe I just naturally just needed to write that song, I think.
Yeah, well, I think there are some songs that just get written so quickly and it almost, like it's seamless. That whole song doesn't sound like there's been any overthinking at all. And sometimes that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, even the lyrics, it felt like there was no work to put in. It just was just there, like really easily.
Nice. All right. Let's talk a little bit about how REINS translates in a live setting, because there's a lot of tasty builds, like piano bits, guitar layers. How do you deal with all of that when it's just a one-man show?
I do treat every show differently, for sure. Some shows would be painful by myself, so I do have a few friends that come and play with me. I have some drums and some guitar and bass, and that really helps with all those builds and stuff like that. And it sounds pretty epic. We can pretty much pull off most of the recordings. But at the same time, I absolutely love just a solo show. And some of the best shows I've played. I've played crazy shows, like I play in a metal band, Saviour, and we've played festivals that there's thousands of people moshing and stuff, which is very fun and cool. But man, some of my favorite shows have had 10 people that are all sitting down and listening and don't say a word and just enjoy the music. And I think that's what I aim to actually kind of hone in on. So I'm kind of probably going to go away from just your regular book your local bar. I'll still play a few shows here and there, but I want to put on some more special shows, maybe like random locations that shouldn't normally have live music, warehouses. I'll see what I can find. Even like living room shows would be really fun. Yeah, but I think I want to put on experiences that are not just standard, because there's a lot of standard. There's a lot of amazing musicians who lose a lot of their creativity because people are in an atmosphere where they don't care. And you know, I think I'd rather put a gig on in a place where I know that everybody is caring.
That's punk rock as hell, but also it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it definitely really does. And that's from years of playing gigs. So eventually you don't always want to tolerate, you know, mediocre shows. You can still enjoy them, but you treat it for what it is, and you definitely make the most of the special ones, I think. All
right, so I guess I just want to know what your, you know, plan is for the future. Do you have a 5-year plan? Or
all I'll say is this EP is part 1 of a part 2, and part 2 is already written. Trying to record it at the moment, but I'm trying to mix it up. Like, I want the next EP to sound like a part 2, but also more exciting and doing some more interesting things. And part 1, this first EP, which is called What Keeps Me Here, is a bit more of like the light, like the happier. It's still got some darker moments like Storm Clouds, but
feels quite sad to me.
Really?
I'm scared to know where you're going.
Maybe I'm just like an inner emo kid, because this EP is my happy boppy.
Yeah.
And the other one will be not like, I'm not going like
full black metal.
Yeah, I'm not going to be Slayer or something, but it'll be more on the emo, darker side.
Chris, thanks so much for coming down tonight and sharing a little bit of wisdom about, you know, how you do things. And yeah, it's been really insightful, and I've had a great time.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm hardly wise, but I'm very happy to be here. Had a great time.
Take care.